they'll lose interest pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are working with very short attention spans, so yeah.
That's true. And thanks TikTok for that. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Between Two Creeks. This week, the upper management thought it would be funny and interesting to put the two most camera-shy people in this episode, so we'll see how that goes. My name is Kevin. I'm a web developer here at Twin Creek, and we're joined by Shauna. She is our social media manager.
Yeah, I am. I've got a lot of butterflies right now, but hope we pull through this.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. We may have to cut about 1 million times.
Yeah.
So this week, in this episode at least, we're talking about what kind of content will perform the best on social media.
And that's quite a broad subject. Could write books on it, but answering that in one word, or rather 2 words, it would be it depends. It depends on the type of business you do. It depends on the type of audience you have, your target audience, the type of content you're comfortable producing. So yeah, the big answer would be depends.
Yeah, okay. So I guess we'll go platform by platform here. So why don't we start with, we'll go with Meta. So we'll start with Facebook first. What kind of content for businesses, is best on Facebook?
All right, so Facebook is an interesting one because although people keep saying that it's only the older generation that uses Facebook, a few recent statistics that we've seen actually proves otherwise.
Oh, okay.
So from the age group of about 18 to 30, people use Facebook the most, although you'd think it would be TikTok. Are you on TikTok at all?
Yes, I am actually. Most people my age, you're just basically sticking to Instagram, but I don't know. I like TikTok better. What can I say?
Yeah. Anyway, so what content performs best on Facebook? Well, again, it depends, but I think it's important to keep in mind that whatever type of content you use, be it video, be it static, be it a carousel, it's important to get your point across in the first 3 seconds. And yes, Facebook as a platform is heavily promoting reel content right now. So if you look at the app, there's an actual section of reels where you can doom scroll like you do on,
TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, and on Instagram Reels. But it's so important, and this mainly applies for B2B brands, right? Business to business brands. It's so important to get your point across in the first 3 seconds. We call this the 3-second rule.
Okay.
Why? Because there's so much noise out there. B2C or business to consumer brands have it a little easy because it's simpler and not as complicated to get brand placements on, with influencers or collaborations or align it to everyday life. So, for example, a t-shirt, a perfume, it's in a content perspective, it's kind of easy to place and it's easy to get the message across. Whereas a B2B brand like metal buildings, for example, or pool covers is a little more complicated. So if you don't get that point across in the first 3 seconds, it's a lot of noise out there and your message gets lost.
Right.
So that 3-second rule is paramount, not just on Facebook, but in all platforms. And then, of course, the big one, Reels. Facebook is heavily promoting video content with their placements and with organic content. So you can see Facebook prioritizing video quite a bit. And then, of course, collaborations always are a good idea. So if you are a B2B brand that's looking to get your brand kind of amplify your brand.
Yeah.
Collaborations are great within reason. Make sure that you pick the right collaborator to go with, and not just the next big influencer.
Yeah, maybe do some research before you decide to pick who you're
brand
collaborating
alignment
with.
And things like that.
Yeah.
And of course, groups. We don't talk enough about this, but people search for information on Facebook groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
They ask for recommendations, and although some of these groups have settings where pages, or you can't join the group as a page, you can join it as an individual and get your message across. So it's referral branding. It's being available when people are searching for you.
Yeah.
The trend where people are moving towards social media to search, to find information, to get recommendations is a big shift that has been happening over the past few years. So we used to Google everything, but
Yeah.
people also search on Facebook, and not a lot of brands pay attention to this. So, for example, if you're a brand based in Kelowna, we do have quite a few groups that are very active where people share news, where people share brand recommendations.
Yeah, there's
and-
the Kelowna Rant and Rave page
Yes.
is a good example of that. And
And
that shows up on my feed all the time. So,
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Because it's organic content, and Facebook is trying to be more authentic with the content that they share. So when people recommend other brands, it's good for you, but also it's a good way to kind of keep a pulse on how the industry is working. Look at what your competitors are doing, if your competitors are winning or if they're failing, because it's rant and rave.
Right.
So people
Yeah.
do rant quite a bit than
I would
they
say
rave.
they rant more than they rave. Yeah.
So yeah, groups.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. All right. So let's move on to Instagram.
Yeah.
How, what's the best content for there? And is it different than Facebook, or is it, I know they're both Meta, so is it going to be similar content? Is it similar demographic on on Instagram?
So the Instagram demographic again is kind of similar, but people use the platforms differently, right?
Right.
The purpose of using Facebook is different from why you use Instagram. And Instagram as a platform is placing itself heavily as a competitor towards TikTok. So it's trying to replace TikTok, which is why you see a lot of the video features, a lot of the enhancements, stories have upgraded. It has become so advanced over the past few months. It's like,
Yeah, Reels are getting a lot more popular now,
Yeah.
I found, with Instagram. So as you're mentioning, they're just trying to compete directly with TikTok at this point.
yep.
Yeah.
And an interesting thing that we noticed, and this was just us discussing inside the office. So all the girls, we prefer the Instagram algorithm, like the suggestions we get on the Reels,
Yeah.
more than TikTok, because sometimes TikTok doesn't really relate to what we are searching for.
Yeah, TikTok can be a little bit random. It's funny because we were talking about this yesterday when we were rehearsing for this, because we're both insanely nervous. I'm not sure if you can tell. I actually found that TikTok was better for that. So it's a little bit interesting how you guys have a different,
Yeah, I mean,
take on that.
because all the girls didn't like it. Maybe it's like a fishbowl versus the main office area thing.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, who knows? Though I don't spend, this is for the bosses. I don't spend a lot of time on my phone at the office. So,
It's my job. I have to.
It's true. She has to. I don't. If I'm on my phone, that's not so good.
It's okay. Research.
Yeah, it's all
Anyway.
research. Yeah.
Instagram. So Reels for the win. Instagram is heavily pushing Reels. But interestingly, because there's so much competition on Reels, it makes sense for you to also look at static content. Image collections or carousels on Instagram perform great because most of the time, and I'm sure most of you would have noticed, when you post a collection of images, you see it on your feed once, and then you see it again with the second picture on the collection.
Yeah.
So it's like multiple, I would say, it gives you more of a frequency than a single image post. And of course, stories are amazing. And one big mistake I would say that I've seen business to business brands do is focus more on stories than on actual feed content.
Yeah.
Because feed content is there to stay. It's on your feed. Stories disappear,
They disappear.
after
Yeah.
24 hours. So yes, do stories. It's excellent. Do them every day. But make sure if you're promoting something important, a new product, a launch, a different feature, kind of have that balance between stories versus
Because stories are only really going to be seen by people that are already following you.
Yep,
So,
and who are online. And that's the other big thing, right? Business to business customers are not always online and are not always looking at your content. So
Yeah.
the durability of your content comes into play quite a bit when it's a B2B brand. And the other big one I wanted to talk about is hashtags.
yes.
Brands love to use 1,500 hashtags on their posts, and it does absolutely nothing. to you.
Absolutely nothing. Stop doing that.
Hashtags are great, but it's a search tool. And this actually was something that we grabbed from an interview with the founder of Instagram himself. Not exactly the founder, but the CEO. But yep, hashtags are a search tool. So if you're I would say, an appliance company that's promoting Whirlpool as a brand, then hashtag Whirlpool makes sense.
Yeah.
If you are only focusing on people who are traveling or looking for experiences in Kelowna, hashtag Kelowna makes sense. But adding 15 million hashtags under, I would say, metal building companies saying, metal buildings and hashtag best thing ever, or YOLO and stuff like that.
That's really not going to do anything for your business.
Yep.
No.
So
yeah.
handpick your hashtags and make sure that they are relevant, but don't overuse it. It's just a waste of time and it does not look great.
No. When you see posts with a caption of 50 characters, but then you've got 50 hashtags below. Well, it doesn't look good to the viewer, to the user at all. And the chances of them even clicking on those hashtags are like pretty minimal, I would assume.
People rarely click on the hashtags on a post. They just use it to search, right? So I'm searching for something and you get the hashtag result. So, if it's World Environment Day, go ahead and use that hashtag because you want to be in that content group. But not, Best Friday ever. Woke up like this. Sorry, not really.
Exactly.
Not for B2B brands at least.
No.
And the other big thing is on Instagram, because you can't click on a link, right? On organic Instagram content, you can't really add a link to click on. You only have the links on your bio.
In your bio, yeah.
So it makes sense if you're sharing a blog or if you want to share some key piece of information, a descriptive caption is good. Mm-hmm. And the other thing you can do, like we recommended earlier, is to use carousels. Have the content, let it create a little experience. You can see similar content as PDFs or as documents on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. But I've seen them do a pretty good job on the platform as well in getting you organic content. Yeah,
carousels work quite good for that, for sure. How do you feel about, I used to see a lot of people do this, and it was, there'd be a caption and then it'd say, click link in bio. Is that still a good idea, or is it better to just have, your main website link in your bio instead of changing it every time there's a...
bio allows you to have 5 links right now.
Oh,
so you can keep updating that.
Okay.
But it makes sense to have all the information. Again, 3-second rule, right? And because there's so much to do, so much content out there, no one is going to go looking for a link in bio to click it.
Right, okay.
So have the key point or your hook on your caption or on your image, and then there is no option. You have to say link in bio, but what I try to do is I avoid that. For example, if it's a blog, mm-hmm. I would say to read more, visit the link in bio, but I would have the gist of it, the meat of it on the caption.
Yeah. To engage the user to, enough that they actually want to go searching for it instead of, if you want, one sentence and I'm going to make you do all the rest of the work. Click here, load the website, they'll lose interest pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move over to meta ads. So is the type of content you post on meta ads different than what you would post on Facebook and Instagram as a business? How does the content change because it's an ad?
So your ad strategy needs to be a lot more a lot more, I would say, well thought out than putting content out.
A lot more strategy needs to be put into it, yeah.
Because although organically, for example, Reels and video content perform great, for the past few months, because we manage meta ads for about over 20 clients at Twin Creek Media, right? I'm seeing a trend where static content and experience ads perform way, way better than the video content. And then a little bit of digging into this, a little bit of seeing what other experts in the field have to say kind of made us realize that it's basic economics, demand and supply. There's so much of a supply of video content out there being boosted and promoted that that little segment of video content is very, very overcrowded. So there's a space for you to kind of shine in the static experience ad kind of space. So looking at the demand and supply, looking at what our competitor is doing is always important when you're running ads, because do Reels because everyone are looking at it and that's the MVP right now. But when it comes to our ad strategy, have a clear balance between static, experience ads, carousels, videos, having that mix. And right now meta ads lets you kind of use advantage plus delivery, so you don't really have to worry about where you're placing your ads or anything, and it's worked great for us. But it's very important to have that balance and not just to depend on one video that you've created and hoping that it'll bring you conversions, because
switch it up once in a while, so it's not, you're not always just posting Reels, or you're not always just posting a single image.
And it's just not not just the creative anymore. There's a lot more at play here. And talking about that, Meta ads is, from a technical perspective, becoming more and more like Google Ads right now.
Okay.
So back in the day, we would publish a post and then put money behind it, and that's the end of it. But now you can enhance your post. So if you're doing a static post with an image, you have different placements where it can be a square, it could be like a little rectangle. There's a story placements for stories,
okay.
and then you can add multiple links, you can add site links, you can add offers. And with the application of AI coming in, enhancements for Meta ads, you also have the option of generating multiple headlines and multiple descriptions.
Oh, okay. So the AI helps you write that.
Yep.
You would basically just put in, one headline that you wrote, and then it'll give you more
options.
Ideas and options. Okay.
Yeah, and
okay.
it will actually test out these different pieces of content to kind of come at the, one that works best. So it's more important to set that up right than to focus on getting the picture, just the caption right. Again, it comes down to kind of getting all the little bits and pieces and setting it up than just having one templated post going out. Now, from an agency and even a marketing team that needs to get approval for things, this gets a little difficult because we remember a time where we had to create a content plan, get the captions approved, get the images approved.
Yeah.
It's not recommended to do that anymore. You've got to be a little more dynamic.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. This is why we have departments here, because I had no idea about any of these new tips and tricks with Meta ads.
Oh, guys, we're low on battery. We're running out of battery.
We talked for way too long.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Kill the camera!